Hey everybody, it's Payday, and you're listening to the Payday Podcast with your host, Samantha Mantra, me. Today's episode is all about mindsets, specifically the myths around them and the motivations that make them work. I used to hate when people talked about mindsets. It seemed to me a really, really convenient way to scam people who are desperate for a way to change their circumstances. I'm especially side-eyeing any books, products, campaigns, cough, cough, The Secret, anything at all that just seems like, yes, this is the solution to all of your problems. In reality, it's just an opinion and really great marketing. So I didn't have much time for mindsets. Nowadays, though, I have a different opinion. I can see the value in having a conversation about mindsets. So here's the key thing that made mindsets useful for me. I realized that mindsets are part of the solution, but they're not the whole solution. And I know that may seem rather obvious, but mindsets as a word, as a phrase, they get thrown into a conversation with other words or phrases like law of attraction, shifts, phrases that you may generally associate with multi-level marketing schemes and scams. Yes, scams. And that gives mindsets a bad rap because what a mindset is it's how you approach your day. And that is worthy of your examination and your consideration. Okay, let me back up for a second. Let's start with a definition. I love a good definition. What is a mindset? Well, according to Psychology Today, a mindset is a belief that orients the way we handle situations, the way we sort out what is going on and what we should do. That's it. It's not some mystical thing. Very straightforward, a mindset is a belief that informs your approaches to the different scenarios you come across in life. What are some typical examples of mindsets? So I have a couple examples of opposing mindsets where people like to say this and versus that. So a practical mindset versus a dreamer. Fixed mindset versus growth mindset. You'll hear that tossed around in the C-suite a lot. Worker mindset versus millionaire. All of these Instagram accounts promising to make people millionaires just by changing the way they think. Do the work versus a problem solver. Someone who's always with their checklist. Someone who is procedural versus someone who's innovative. And like, there has to be a quicker way to solve this problem. And depending on what line of work you're in, your industry will favor one mindset over the other. For example, if you are in the legal industry, I would be willing to bet that procedural mindsets are the valuable ones there, not so much the innovative mindsets. And mindsets on the day-to-day are our point of view in the world. The point of view that we have then to anchor our perception of the world and our problems and our stresses, whether they be financial or otherwise. That's it. So if that's all that mindsets are, how did they become this thing that everyone and their mom wants to talk about? I personally blame the cult of false positivity, which I hate. The idea that you could just think something and it be true has been harmful for all of us, both on a personal level and on a societal level. And I want to speak on positivity real quick because, as I just mentioned, I really hate the positivity movement overall because being positive in the way that social media or your favorite celebrity portrays positivity generally comes from focusing on the silver lining at the expense of ignoring the cloud that is causing the silver lining. Let me use a really, really dramatic example to illustrate the point. Let's say there's been a car crash. You are fine. Don't even have a scratch. You're fine, but your car is totaled. The positivity approach would have you say, but I'm fine. But this is still not a positive situation. At best, you're in neutral because you're fine, but your car is a wreck. You're shook, you have no injuries, but you have no new way to buy a car or go to work. Everything does not have to be a positive. And it's okay to say, yeah, this was a bad situation. This was a bad thing that happened, a negative thing. And there is no silver lining here. Or maybe there is one, but it's still not the main focus of your attention because your attention is on solving the problem. And that's part of the distraction that focusing on the positive can sometimes lead us to, is if you don't dedicate some time to figuring out why the cloud is there to begin with, then the problem never goes away and you just remain in a state of focusing on the silver lining because you have nothing else to do. Which brings me to our next topic, myths versus fact. So, myth. Adopting a mindset changes things immediately. That is false. It does not change anything immediately. If that was the case, there would be a lot more millionaires. The fact to that is a mindset is part of the solution, and I would argue it's the second half of any solution. The first half of the solution, whatever the problem may be, is action. And making the choice to change things is an action. But your choice has to come first before you reorient your belief. Because a mindset is a belief. It's kind of like your version of rose-colored glasses that you put on and view the world through. Okay, another fact. Mindsets are set in stone. False. Mindsets are malleable. And you could have one mindset for your finances, another mindset for work, and another for family. A lot of us found out during the pandemic who our partner or spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend were at work. And that was pretty funny in the first part of the pandemic before we really lost it. I encourage my clients personally to shift around in their mindsets until they find an approach that works for them. The idea that every mindset is either good or bad is a false binary. Any belief, any mindset that is taken to its most extreme ultimately becomes harmful. So it's my job here today to remind you to find some balance in your approaches to life. For example, I'll use myself. I'm a practical person. I tend to have a practical/productive mindset to everything, which means I look at a problem or I look at a load of laundry and I'm like, how can I make this more productive? I have other things to do. I am being practical, which also means that once the task is done, I don't think about it. I don't celebrate my wins. And that's the flip side of an overly practical mindset. Self-examination is helpful here. Are you somebody who does things by the book? Are you procedural? You have a procedural mindset. You love your checklist. You're like, first I do A, then I do B, next comes C. You might have difficulty working with or living with someone who's more of an innovator or a dreamer, someone less practical, someone less procedural. But speaking in terms of teams now, in terms of groups, different mindsets actually complement each other really well. And if you could see the value in someone else's approach to a problem or situation, then you could also see where your own mindset could need some fine-tuning. Mindsets are best when they are informed by your motivations. So what is motivating you to get anything done? It could be the desire to not be broke. It could be the desire to be comfortable. What are your motivations and can you articulate them? And if you're completely unmotivated, then what is the thing that dwells most on your mind? Your motivation is the seed from which your mindset grows. And so understanding what motivates you or what is driving you forward is key to changing or adjusting your mindset. And in order to change your mindset, by the way, you must first know what your current state of mind is. So I will talk next episode about scarcity mindset, for example. If you grew up poor or been broke for an extended period of time, you know if your brain automatically goes, nope, I don't have money for that. Nope, I don't have this for that. Or for those who grew up in certain households, you don't have McDonald's money, so to speak. If you're switching between mindsets, you're like, okay, I had a scarcity mindset and now I want to have a growth mindset, whatever that means to you. I want to look at problems, I want to look at situations, and I want to see opportunities. Well, that just doesn't happen by saying you want it. It starts with understanding what your current mindset is and asking yourself if it serves you for the next chapter in life or the next promotion, the next vacation, the next family outing. Knowing where you are means that you could change where you're going. Now, that's all well and good, right? I'm speaking super big picture. I'm talking about mindsets broadly, people who work in teams. Maybe you live together with people with different mindsets. How do we make this practical? Because that's who I am, practical. How do we make this practical and bring it into your life? So what I use are mantras. And mantras originate from Hinduism and Buddhism. And what mantras are, or in their original definition, is a word or sound repeated to aid in concentration for meditation. In modern day, we use it as just, it's a statement or a slogan that you repeat frequently. I use mantras as a sentence or two that provide clarity amid the mess that is work, life, and personal finance. And so I use mantras to get a clear idea of what my motivation is and what I want to do. One of my favorite personal mantras is, I can have everything I deserve, but not at the same time. Combating against my overly practical mindset, reminding myself that I do deserve nice things and that there is in fact an order to how I'm going to get those nice things. What is a mantra that works for you? I post mantras on my Instagram all the time. Another one of my favorites is oxygen mask on first. Perhaps you're somebody who is practical and also a provider, who is big on making sure that the others around you are taken care of. Oxygen mask on first. If you aren't okay, then you're not going to be okay to take care of other people. And repeating those sentences once, twice a day when I wake up or when I sit down to work really helps focus, and I've slowly seen it change my mindset. And mindsets aren't just pseudoscience psychobabble. Mindsets are also grounded in a psychology background. I won't speak on that because I don't believe in speaking about things that I'm not an expert on or I don't have experience in. But it's real. And so changing a mindset starts with repeated actions. Like I said, action is the first part of the solution. The second part of the solution is an overall mindset shift. So the first part, action. What do you want to change? Make it clear to yourself. If you're somebody who's struggling with order in your life, I can make things clear for myself. It's simple. It's sweet. It's one sentence. And you tell yourself anything enough times, you'll believe it. That's both the scary and fascinating thing about the human brain. And it's why it's so important to examine what we believe so that we focus on everything that is in front of us and not just on a single silver lining. Self-awareness makes your life easier in the long run. Clarity on why you're working and what you're doing makes your life easier, and you deserve to have an easier life. Speaking of ways to make your life easier, if you're getting ready to start a podcast and you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the easiest way to get started. It's free. Anchor distributes your podcast for you across multiple platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Their app allows you to edit straight from your phone or computer, and there's no minimum listenership to start earning revenue. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I offer you mantras as a tool to make your life a little bit easier. And so if you've never written one for yourself before, I'm going to tell you how to do it. It's very simple. Be able to answer these 3 questions. What do you want? Why do you want it? And what are you willing to do to get it? What do you want? A house, a couch, a car, a vacation post-COVID, fully vaccinated? Why do you want it? Stability, security, comfort, ease of transit. What are you willing to do to get it? Are you going to pick up a second job? No? Yes. Straightforward question. Are you willing to cut back on some food expenses? Maybe cut some Ubers and Lyfts so that you could have a really nice couch in your next apartment or your current apartment. See, when you can answer the questions that you ask yourself instead of just putting it off to someday, then you're putting yourself higher up on the priority list. And you will slowly shift the mindset. You will not switch a mindset overnight. Mindset shifts are gradual. They take place over time. You may grasp the importance of it immediately. You may say, aha, that sounds incredible. Seeing opportunities everywhere. How do I become that person who sees opportunities everywhere? But you won't become that person in a week or a month. Maybe 3 to 4 months, you'll start to see opportunities regularly around you because it'll become your default impulse to first pull back and say, is there anything here that I can use as an opportunity for myself? Use mantras for the first 1, 2, 3, however many months that it takes to remind yourself what you're trying to change and what you're trying to accomplish. Remember, your mindset is just your default belief system. And when your belief system isn't examined, it just runs on autopilot. fine tune that thing until it makes your life work for you. I know mindsets are a popular topic, but there's a lot of varying information out there. And I hope that this conversation was helpful for you in just clarifying what you want out of what goes on in your own head. To paraphrase William Ernest Henley, you are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your soul. And you're in charge. And if there are thoughts in your head, scripts that are outdated from different chapters in your life, reassess and make sure that what passes through your head matches what you want out of your life. And that's a process. But I believe that we make choices. We don't just let things happen to us. This has been an interesting podcast episode. I know it's a challenging one to discuss, but I really hope you got something out of it. This is Samantha Mantra signing off. Take care and enjoy the rest of your payday.